hey, what's going on? Ooh, I do not like that setup. Let's see what we got here.
What's going on?
Hey, here we go. Nope, that's not good either. How about that? A little better. I like this one. Nope,
Yes,
that's not good.
that's good.
Nope.
Oh,
I like that.
There we go. There we go. All right.
I like that little one. Little tiny.
Yeah, you like the really tiny one? Tiny one? Yeah.
what's going
What is
on?
going on, everybody?
Dungeon Class live once
Dungeon
again.
Class Live. And
Somehow-
we have a third member here.
Yeah, we have the unseen member of Dungeon Class,
Yeah.
the ghost behind the screen, the key grip.
Yeah,
Terry
so-
Gonzo.
If she's here, then who's running the?
No one's
Feel
running
really
the show.
weird here, like we're
Yeah.
something's off the rails or something.
Right.
So if this comes unhinged, we know that that's the reason, because she's over here and not behind this. But we're glad to have her. This is our key grip. She does everything. She's the wind beneath our sails. No, that may be a little extreme. I don't know. You want to sing that for us, Gonzo? Wind beneath your wings? Or
I don't know any of those. Well, who sang that? Who sang that?
That member.
Oh
Your
gosh, I
favorite.
definitely don't. I know the song, and that's not coming from me. Now, Def Leppard is a little different, but
Maybe a
Bette
different
Midler?
version
Yeah.
of Bette
Yeah,
Midler
you're
song.
more of a hard rock guy. I got it.
yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome. So tonight we're talking monsters. We're going to get into that in a moment. But
Yeah.
first, I want to shout out some people. I see Fendar in the chat and Paul Oman. Good, welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Dungeoneer.
Yeah, he's coming home from work. He's going to try to pop in. We
Cool.
have several that may pop in. So we'll
Yeah.
hopefully, I know with time differences all over the world now, it's kind of funny because last night Logan was another not here member of Dungeon Class, but he was online with somebody from New Zealand at the same time, somebody from, I think, England.
Yeah.
And someone from Canada. And so the time zones were all over the place, but somehow they made it work late last night. So, which made him late to work this morning
Unbelievable.
for my company. That's ridiculous.
Your company
You know,
is
when
a
I was
second
young,
job.
like his age, I used to like get up and march in
Yeah.
the snow to work both ways and
Uphill.
Oh my God.
uphill. Yeah, here in
Are you
Florida.
old enough for that story yet?
What are you talking about? Oh, am I old enough for that story about uphill
Yeah.
both ways?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm a young whippersnapper. I just heard people say that. It sounded like a cool thing to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying something new.
You're practicing for later on in life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So
So
you
we've been
mentioned-
busy.
we
We've
have,
been busy, right?
we have, right.
As a YouTube channel, we've had a lot of opportunities to collaborate and work with other people,
Right.
and that's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think our channel will start showing these collaborations pretty soon. I think there's some coming up, but
Yes.
yeah, it's been great.
Yes, your
Yeah.
notoriety is growing, and you have
Our
the
ego.
actor's attitude to show. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
Gonzo wouldn't come out of his trailer before.
He
Yeah, he was having trouble, and he's wanting to know
Yeah.
where his fruit water was.
I got to have green jelly beans, or I send it back. What's that, Michael Scott, when he's in the restaurant, he's trying to copy the guy he thinks is a mobster, and the guy's
Yeah.
like, if it's steak's not rare, I send it back. If the salad comes with the blue cheese on it, I send it back. So he tries to copy him, and he says everything dumb, like, if tomatoes are on it, then I send it back. And, if the steak comes back, I send it back. So,
Not quite the same.
No.
Not so tough. Yeah. So
No.
I see. So we were talking about all the people. So yes, this is Fred's in. Thank you. Good to see Fred in chat. So yeah,
Hey,
this
Fred.
was our peeps.
oh,
that,
Fred.
we was on
Oh,
last
so
night.
AJ Pickett, I didn't realize he's in New Zealand as well.
Hey, I did not know that either.
Yeah.
Well, that's not so many time zones then.
Yeah, it's only 3 to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do better than that.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
realize Josiah was in Canada. That's interesting.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and I know Dungeoneers Pack, we're trying to get together soon with him to do a collaboration, but he likes to come in and live stream, and I'd love to go on his. But he's he's got to be in the Pacific time coast, or time zone. So he's 3 hours behind us.
Right.
So he's still at work, and we've had dinner. We're kind of chilling out for the evening, and so
It's tricky. It's really tricky when it comes to time zones. And then if you get 3 or 4 of them, Paul's in Seattle. Oh my gosh.
there you go. He's
that's
early.
That's like it's not even Friday there yet, is it?
Dungeoneer says 20 minutes
Time.
more and he can clock out. See,
Yeah,
poor guy
man.
still has to be at work. This
Still
is
working.
ridiculous. But he
Oh,
is
my
live
goodness.
streaming tonight. He is live streaming at 8 o'clock his time, which
Oh.
would be, what, 1 o'clock our time? No, 11 o'clock our time. So, Mark, if you're up, you got to go in his live stream.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
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 Probably,
Maybe I'll be
There's
up.
video games on there.
Yeah, I might be up by then.
Yeah.
Probably
Oh.
still 11. Yeah. Yeah, I might
So-
still be up.
Oh, Wally DMs is here. Say hi to him.
Hey, Wally.
Yeah.
Speaking
Wally.
of collaborations, that guy, Mark, we probably should mention that video that he put out.
Yeah. So if you've not seen it already on our channel, we did a video with it was one of our. We submitted a few clips, we should say, to a video that Wally DM put out. And if you've not seen it, 24 channels, never been done in the history of YouTube that we know of. 24 channels, 23 of which were D&D channels, and then there's this other guy who plays Pathfinder. But we don't hold it against him.
Okay, that's
and
the
so-
same thing.
Yeah. I know it's like
Yeah.
it is. Anyway, so he was, and it was excellent. Wally put this together. It was his brainchild. Put together these clips, and it turned out really good. If you have seen Eye of the Beholder, it's about the art and stuff of the history of art in D&D. It kind of reminds me of that because it's just like a documentary is what it looks like, and it was really, really well done. Really amazing. A lot of work to pull it off. You figure that many channels submitting clips, and all of which were perfectly timed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And had very little editing to do.
Yeah, right. Wally will kill you.
yeah, I know. I like to
Yeah.
I like to mess with Wally a little bit. So yeah, he was saying it took a bit of work, but it was great, and it pulled off, and we were really happy to be a part of it, and glad that we were invited.
So if I was the tech guy, I'd say, okay, let me drop the link in the chat, but I don't know how to do that. But if Logan's listening, maybe he can drop it.
talk
I
a
know.
little bit, and I could do that.
Well, we'll talk, all right. So
What's
that video is
his
pretty cool,
theory?
and it's a video about top 10 monsters. And he basically just asked all these different YouTube creators out of a list of a bunch of monsters, which he gave us, pick your top 10, and you pick, one to talk about, and I'll use your clip and, along with others. So, and that worked out really good, like you said, because he went down the list from Beholder to dragons to goblins to mimics to other things. And so it's interesting, different people's views of those monsters and how that worked. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight.
Wally, can you drop that in chat?
If
Because
he's
he might
given a
go back
wrench,
to
he
talk.
can.
Oh, I know he can give him a wrench. I can do that.
You can give one to Cujo as well. Cujo says he's in Alabama. So is that the same time zone?
Where's
as
that?
us?
Should be.
Where's
Where's
Alabama?
that? That's just
Should be our
I-75 north.
Oh,
Lisa
yeah,
said
I've heard
little
about
editing.
this.
I don't
Yeah.
believe that.
I've heard about this. All right, let's see. Make him a moderator. All
Wally
right.
Wally says, "Yep, very little editing."
I don't believe him.
Yep, no
Yeah.
problem at all.
No
Yeah.
problem at all. Yeah, sure. No, it
little
was a
known
great
tip,
video.
Little known bit of information: his puzzle book. It only took 4 days to make, too. By the way, I don't know if you've seen that puzzle book.
You
I know.
are going to be in trouble with him.
I know. He's gonna give
So-
it to me. All right. So yeah, Wally, I gave you the wrench, so you should be able to drop it in there. 6:45 here on the Gulf Coast. Okay.
Okay.
You're on the coast of Alabama. Awesome. Oh, you guys
Yeah.
get all the hurricanes that we don't get.
Yeah, we sent them up
We
that
sent
way.
him up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we literally live in. There's a guy that we all know, Grandpa Jones, who's been here. He's 90-something years old, and he swears that a hurricane will never hit here. And we live in this little bubble area. It's called Bradenton, just a block away from Sarasota, right underneath a bridge across is Tampa. So we're right in between Sarasota and Tampa. Small place called Bradenton. We do have a river that goes right here, Manatee River. And we were so close to being hit back in whenever that was, babe, 2008 or something,
Yeah,
when
a couple years
we
ago.
had 3. We were like, oh, here it comes. And it came up the coast, and they had projected it to come right into the Manatee River.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we were getting ready. I had a compressor ready and a generator and all this stuff and chainsaws ready. And it luckily for us, not for Port Charlotte, it finally veered and went all the way through. And everyone had left Bradenton and went to Orlando, the middle of the state, because they said, well, it'll be safe there. So they all got in hotels in Orlando. We stayed home. And the freaking hurricane, literally the night it came through, just decided to coming up the coast, and here's us, and it look in the camera. It went around us and behind us towards the middle of the state, right through Orlando, knocking out their power. And so it was a scary time, but we've never been hit. But the rest of them usually go up and hit Alabama, they hit Texas, they hit Louisiana, of course, all the time, and the northern panhandle of Florida. So we're kind of in that weird bubble zone. They come in right below Puerto Rico, they start to turn up, but that's that northwest turn that shoots them back out. So
right.
You know, and then we have what we call a Sharknado that comes around, and
yeah, we have that. It's not, that you thought that was fake, but it's a real thing here.
Speaking of monsters, Sharknado, Gatornados. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can have
I've actually looking around and working on that too. Goblinado.
Oh.
Okay, a bunch of goblins rolling around that got picked up from a village. Owlbearnado.
Oh.
Okay, these owlbears are ticked off because
So
they've been battered in the winds and they get dropped somewhere and now they're angry. Come on, these are great monsters.
These are great monsters.
Yeah, we're gonna make a video.
Combined with a natural disaster. That's
a Dragonado.
Dragonado. All right.
I think we get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Orknado.
interesting.
Orknado.
I like Orknado.
I like that.
All right. So, convention, Gonzo, at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's only a few weeks away.
Pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting for one. It's exciting that here in Florida, it's relaxed enough where they're allowing conventions. So they still have social distancing. They still have masks required, that kind of thing. But they're not preventing that starting now from big gatherings coming through. And they have a limit of how many can go through at the time. But it's a big what do you call it, convention center. So even the tables, which we have a table set up, even those, they change the design. So they're just in like 4 10-foot blocks and they're all separated from each other. So it's going to work out pretty good. So I'm excited. But even better for Dungeon Class is you and Logan, I believe, are running games all day on one of the days. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. This first time we've been invited to a convention to do that, and so that'll be cool. And I'm sure Carrie will run a game or two. Oh wait, no, maybe not.
No, I'm excited because there's comic books all over my house on every surface. That's
yeah.
Well, I'm selling comic books, and Pale Rider, he's a fellow comic fan like me, but he knows. But I mean, that's actually my number one love. What is comic books, and I've been collecting since I was little. And you know the story, Mark. But they helped me to learn English from my Puerto Rican heritage, and I've just been grabbing them off the shelf since I was a kid. And now my collection is so big that my wife said, can you please do something about this? So,
I never said that.
Okay, well, I'm blaming it on you, but basically they've become worth some money where I can actually do something with it. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of stuff I don't want anymore. So and still keep all my treasures, Right. And I'm using this convention, just a small local, to really practice and get used to, like we're doing with Dungeon Class, get used to a bigger convention that I'm used to going to, the big ones. I've been to New York Comic Con a few times. I've been to Salt Lake. I've been to the MegaCon in Orlando. The only one I haven't hit that's really big is the one in San Diego, which I think you drove by when they were dealing it. But, so. Who gave Wally unlimited power?
I did. Yeah, I gave him the wrench. This may be a mistake. We might regret that. I may have to take it back, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, put the link to your book and put the link to your video in our chat.
We did the video.
Oh, he did. Okay, good
idea. Yeah. Put the So if any of you have not checked out the book, you've got to. It's something that needs to be in your library, and that's Wally DM's puzzle journal. Help me out.
Wally DM's Journal of Puzzles and Traps.
That's
well
the
done,
one.
Mark. Well done.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of puzzles and stuff in it. And I can't English today. I've been English all day, and I can't.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Aren't you done with school? Don't you
Last
have
day for my seniors today, and I have just a few straggling juniors, but and then all next week we're testing, and then I just kind of hang out. It's big actually till the end. So we're getting close to the end. Yeah, hide under the bed. No kidding. Yeah, I actually do kind of hide in my classroom for a bit because they realize that Rice is around and they can put them into work. They'll do that. So I get a lot of planning and stuff done for next year and a little bit of Dungeon Class stuff. So anyway, convention, so we're pretty excited about that. And hopefully the Nerdarchy convention still goes on, but we'll see.
That's October, but it is up there in New Jersey or Philadelphia, right?
Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yes,
Okay.
Philadelphia's where they're having it. Yeah.
Right.
Hopeful.
So we'll see.
I assume our invitation still stands.
It's good. Yeah, Doug had said that.
Yeah.
Doug Vahovic. Yeah, he said that. So we're still
Unless you
geared
screw
up.
between now and then. I mean,
well, like Fred said, a lot can happen in the next couple of months. So pray to God for, who knows where the world will be or whatever, but or where we'll be. I may be a little too popular to just show up at a convention.
That's true.
Unannounced, without a red carpet.
That's true.
Without fanfare and signings and that kind of thing. So we'll see. I mean, we'll do the best we can.
Well, like I was telling you the other day, it's really hard to go to Walmart when people all want to hound you, want stickers and stuff, and it's really rough. It's really hard to get things done.
Hey, we got to congratulate Cujo.
I see this.
Yeah,
that's the sweet deal, man.
A full ride. Well, 75%.
75%. That's good.
hey,
Holy
congratulations
cow.
to you and your
Yeah,
son.
that's great.
That is awesome.
I
That
should
is
save
awesome.
some money.
Yeah. Anything you can do when they're young to get them to. I mean, I know good grades, Mark. Grades aren't everything. They really aren't.
Right.
But they do help in that next step. They do help you to get something or get somewhere. And our kids are in that magnet school, which is like a fast track school. So when Kaylee graduates, actually all
Next
four
year.
of ours now, when
Yeah.
she graduates, that'll be our fourth kid, our last one, and they all have graduated through accelerated programs with an AA degree, paid for by the state of Florida.
Nice.
So 2
That's
years
right.
of school has been,
Yeah, that's
of
awesome.
college is already taken care of, and
that's-
that's really good. And that's all that lady's work right there, because I don't do homework with them, but she's stayed on them enough to get them motivated to. And once they get in the habit of just keeping up with their work, they can handle it. It's not that bad. So
All right.
proud father, good job,
awesome.
Overboard. That's great.
So I go from babysitting kids to babysitting you guys. This is great.
Yeah, really not that different, right? I mean,
Yeah, there should be no change.
we're just bigger kids. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I
Expensive
wear
toys.
I wear Depends when I'm online. That way I don't have to,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
use a bathroom break.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
a
that
smart move. That's just
Pro
common
tip.
sense, really. Yeah.
pro tip.
Yeah.
Sit
Yes,
back,
if you're gonna
ladies,
go
he's all
long.
mine.
Yeah.
So we're talking about monsters.
Yes.
Speaking of monsters, so we wanted to talk about fun monsters. We did a video last week or whenever it was when we changed the beholders. We came up with some different ideas on how to use beholders, which I had a lot of fun creating between you and Logan and I, because I immediately thought of Mike Wazowski, the entertainer. One big eye. Okay, he could be a beholder, but I love it that he's an entertainer and he's using his magic spells and stuff to kind of charm the audience, demand attention, demand applause, and whatever. And the entertainment industry is the one that approaches your party and says, "Hey, we need help with this guy because he's coming in and dominating getting every gig,
Right.
knocking out all the other bards, and they're ticked off and they're willing to pay a handsome sum if you can figure out what's going on." And so the confrontation is about the thriving entertainment industry in your world. And this guy's a failed comedian, maybe, so it's slapstick or whatever. But I just pictured a beholder who's not very good at whatever he's doing, whether he's singing or a comedian.
Right.
But the audience, shows up and is entranced because he's using his spells and his eye stalks to bring him in. And then we had a couple others that we came up with that were really cool.
Yeah. The angsty. I like the angsty.
That was a good one.
Teenager.
version of
Young
a
beholder.
beholder.
Yeah.
That one's near and dear to my heart. Being I deal with a few angsty teenagers every day. But I like that idea. The voice changing, pimply, young beholders, which really don't really talk much about young beholders. Every time you see them, they're pretty much adultish, I guess. But they probably go through some kind of a teenage period.
Yeah, and they're always generally with beholders are like dragons, like they're always trying to take over the world or something. And what our thought process was have some fun as a dungeon master, just for yourself, if nothing else. I know your players will, but just for yourself, instead of playing the same typecast of monster, quote unquote, or bad guy, change their motivation, change their de-age them, maybe make them different in the way they look, like your idea, like just change things out so that all of a sudden it's fun for you, it's fresh, it's new, and it's fun for the players too, and they may not be expecting it.
I think it'd be a cool idea to do like almost a wild magic with them because they're inexperienced and they think they know what they're doing, and they often try to cast something and end up casting something else. I think that'd be kind of a cool idea.
So like a bumbling, instead of a very successful dominating beholder, his magic is uncontrolled, so he's bumbling around and I'll make you pay with my death ray, and all of a sudden you turn, a potted plant appears, or a bunch of flowers or bubbles.
Yeah,
that's a great idea, and that's the way of thinking.
Yes, it's not the old confident, knows what they're doing kind of beholder. I like that idea. Someone actually talked about this. Hate to put that over his face here.
Sorry.
That wasn't intended.
You can put it over my face. The beholder.
I can't. I set it up.
Okay.
That's okay.
So yeah, the beholder. And someone talked about this and but it was actually like bees. So it was more like I saw this in social media that they were talking about the possibility of being like a beekeeper. The bee. I'm like, there were a lot of really great ideas on Facebook when I post these groups. They had some really great, and I was hoping, I encourage people to come and sharing their great ideas because there were some really, really good ones.
Beholders,
and they were talking specifically about beholders, but it got us thinking. That's why we're talking monsters tonight. Is that, and if it had that many for beholders, what about other monsters? So that's kind of where we ended up here. But we did want to talk about that last idea though, the Hydra Beholder, which I think is pretty special because that really eats up the problem, to say the least. One eye stalk when you run into them, and then only when you whack, and maybe the way you describe it, in case they've seen beholders, they may not even realize it's a normal like a beholder per se. And it's just this thing, it's got eyes, and it's
big
got
eye, and it's got one
one eye stalk, and you're like, all right, whatever, Invariably they get in a battle maybe where they cut off that one eye stalk, but two more grow back. So I think that's really, really good.
Before you know it, especially with the barbarian, he's going to go in with 3 attacks and swing, and now there's 6 eye stalks, and and then wait a minute, what's going on, right? So, but that's a great way to up the ante and again, take your players off guard. You say beholder, most of them, it's not metagaming, they just know. Just like when you say dragon, they know, right? So they're going to like, okay, we know how to deal with this, or at least we know what we're dealing with. But when you change it up like that, it just twists things enough where they're like, ooh, there's something's different here. We gotta think differently. We gotta formulate differently. And tonight, I know what we wanted from the chat is if you guys have ideas of a fun or different way to play a monster or bad guy, then we can bring it in where you pop up on the screen, or you can just have your voice in a blank screen and let us know your idea. We want to share those, and I know there's some people here that'll do that. So,
so you can do it a couple different ways. You could share it in the chat here, and if you want, we could send you a link, and we could have you come on and talk about it a little bit, whichever you're comfortable with. Some people aren't comfortable being on camera, which I don't know what that's like. Kind of people are like that, Point. I'm saying that for Carrie's benefit. So while he's taking the wrench with him. Oh, great.
Oh, look at that guy. Of course he would. He doesn't share. Love that guy.
Yeah. So no, seriously, and not everybody feels comfortable. But if you want to share in the chat, we'll bring it on and talk about it. But we'd love to hear. And it could be a monster that you've reskinned. You have maybe you've re-flavored it. So it's just like a different flavor to it. Maybe you have tweaked it just a little bit, or maybe it's something that you totally homebrewed, completely new. Or, as someone pointed out in one of the groups, it could be a monster brought from another edition. And there are some editions that, some monsters from the other editions that didn't make it in the 5th edition monster manual. In fact, where's our monster manual 2 and 3 and Fiend Folio?
Well, it was Volo's guide, and it was that other one that we have. I forgot, but they didn't want to call them Monster Manual 2 and 3. They gave them some nice name, but just like Player's Handbook 2, which is Xanathar's guide to
True.
everything. You know, it's generally just another player's handbook. But they mix it now because they put DM stuff and player stuff in the same book.
Yeah.
And that's where some of the complaints have come. So
Fred has some real ideas about these not having the actual Fiend Folio and all that. And he's like, this is lame.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can't help but be nostalgic.
Advertising. Yeah, I don't know.
You can't help it. If you have the other stuff, it's nostalgia, right? You want it again, so I get it.
And I know Fred's got some real ideas on the Monster Manual. I don't know if everybody knows it in chat, but he loves the 5th edition Monster Manual. I mean, loves.
Are you bringing him in?
Sounds
you better bring him in so he can defend himself.
No, I'm pretty sarcastic about that. I know he has some strong feelings.
Fred, if you want to come in, just say
say
Mark sucks in the chat, and then
I can send you a link.
Let us know. We'll put the link in. And I think Paul Unwin has some ideas. We could see what he has.
Yep. Okay, Paul, I'm sending you a link if you want to come in here. Let me.
You can just drop it in the chat, and then you let in one at a time or something, right?
Yep. Totally.
So if you guys want to come in, anybody, doesn't matter. Just remember when you come in,
down in the tray, and then I just bring you in. So that's all that.
Okay. Right. And just remember when you're coming in, we do keep it PG-13. If anyone's in here that's not, our kids watch this and whatever. And with Carrie here, I get in trouble if I use my normal vernacular, so I have to be careful. Yeah, right.
Oh, no, that's a good. No, all right. So this is actually a pretty decent idea, I think. They need to make a monster manual that
new monsters.
A new monster manual, his new monster DMs and pets and stuff. Pets. Yeah. Having worked with kids and played with kids, DMing with kids, man, they love pets.
Love pets. Yeah.
Yeah. Pets are huge. And honestly, if you think about it, like Diablo has pets now, and World of Warcraft had pets, and a lot of these games are putting pets in there. So you would think that would be. So here's Paul. I'm bringing him in here. Paul, how you doing, sir?
Hey.
Hey, Paul. Good to meet you.
How are you?
Great.
Good.
So, Paul, you're gonna bring us. You're gonna. We'll bring Fred in here too. We'll have a real rebuttal here. He's probably gonna go on and on about his. No, we'll get to Fred in a second here. But Paul, we brought you in here to.
Sucks in the chat yet.
Yeah.
When's that comment coming in?
Hey, whoa. Yeah, I know.
Poor Mark. I know.
He had to come in. He had to after that bomb I just dropped it. But Paul, we want to hear about your. I know he mentioned to me in social medias that he's got an idea or two, and so however you want to do it, anything to do with monsters, how you run them, any tweaks you had, any adjustments, or some things you've done in the past, or anything at all. Go.
I mostly play 4th edition, and one of the things I liked is that they made angels a monster. They're mostly on the line. They're not evil, but they might be employed by under any sort of agendas to maybe get in the way of the players. I haven't really used them in encounters, but I like throwing them in as NPCs, more or less.
Yes.
I like the idea of an angel who runs a bar, or the angel who's your maybe a little bit not crooked, but maybe kinked a little businessman. I like to run games in Eberron, in Sharn, and you need to have contacts and people that send you on missions. And what if that's an angel who, for your own protection, stays behind a translucent crystal wall, so you never really see him, and he never burns your face off with his radiance, but he
that's what I do all the time.
And your information broker. Yeah, I know. So I like to throw them in there. Higher level things like that are, for now, they're sort of beyond you, and they're your mission givers and your NPCs behind the bar or whatever. And then maybe later their true purposes are revealed, and now they're on the battlefield, and you're having to. They come out from behind their screen, and now you're facing them because you're in the way of their plans or something like that.
No, that's great. And I never thought really about. I don't think much about angels, and you're right. Angels hasn't really been talked about really in fifth edition. Really, I mean, he had Asmar really, but not as used like that. And I like that a lot. It kind of reminds me of a book, and I was trying to think of the name of it. And it's gonna escape me. It had to do with
angels.
It did. So the idea, and there's a great series of books. There's like 10 of them, and the idea was that all of these different things were offices that people held. Like death was an office, time was an office,
Cool.
God, the devil, and all these, and angels. Do you remember that? I can't remember the name of it. I gotta look it up.
I think I read it, but
But what you said about radiance and angels was very much a big thing in that book. Each book was a different one, and the God one, and it was called For Eternity, and that one had the angels in it, and that whole radiance thing, be able to be in their presence was an interesting thing. No, that totally reminded me of that. But I like that a lot, and really. In fact, everything's all about Avernus and dark and horror and using angels. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Excellent,
for
sir.
sure. And Paul,
appreciate
thank you. I wanted to let you know while we had you on. Thank you for your comments, especially when we did when we talked about edition wars or whatever, and you were mentioning how 4th edition I kind of downplayed it. You're right. You're exactly right. And I told you that. I was like, it's because I never played it, and so I don't know a lot about it. I know Fred played a little 4th, and others have, but because of that, I skipped that whole era and just don't really know other than what you hear online, and that most people didn't like it or it was so different that they couldn't get into it. But
I think I would have really loved it because I took a time off to go play World of Warcraft, and I'm looking at it going. Yeah,
Nerd alert.
I know. I could see where that was a big attraction, and I could see that would be. I think I would like that.
Yeah.
But
I did play World of Warcraft, so I got into it because it worked for me as a version of D&D. So
yeah.
Okay.
That was
Right. Loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever floats everyone's boat, man. It's all good, right? It's all D&D, and that was the basis of my video. Was whatever you're doing. Be happy and be excited about it, but don't tear up somebody else's idea because they're playing something different. Because, everyone's house is different, even in the same edition. Everyone's homebrew rules. So,
yeah, we welcome even Pathfinder people too. I mean, honestly, and I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I know there's kind of a rift.
Take it easy, Mark. Take it easy.
I know. It's kind of a rift between the two. Like I was walking in Walmart and had a D&D shirt, and someone goes, "Boo, Pathfinder's better." I'm like, really? Come on, and so it's kind of like whatever. But no, I firmly believe whatever you want to play. There are so many options to play now. It's awesome. So we are really. It's like a golden age of TTRPGs right now, and I think that's awesome. So, well, thanks, Paul. We're glad. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let Fred defend himself here.
Yeah, and open the spot for whoever else. But good to see you.
All right, Fred.
What do you mean?
So,
what now? Hey, is there
good
anybody
morning.
else in there? Because I can. Yeah, thank you. I have been up for how long? Not that long.
I don't know what time. I don't know where we are anymore.
I was trying to sleep in. I really was. I was like, I've got to go to work tomorrow. I got to sleep in. Now, is there anybody else in there? You don't have to go to me straight away. I can just stand here as a prop and just hopefully like a moth or a flame will
That's
cause
why I'm
people
here,
to
just
actually
as a prop,
watch.
Fred.
Yeah, as a prop. Yeah.
It's because I was complaining that I didn't have anything to do tonight. They're like, jump on.
I gave her something to do.
Do
There you
I
go.
need to know what you're talking about? No.
I said, I gave her something to do. I said, here's something. That you want to go on a date? This is a date that you can tell your friends about.
Yeah.
You get to go online with a bunch of strangers and talk Dungeons and Dragons. There is nothing better on the romantic scale. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, just telling
Jump in
you.
here, Fred.
So,
Defend me.
hey, Rivers, I'll give you a second, but Rivers he's just come in and he's asking what's up. Rivers, we're talking about monsters in our latest video where we kind of tweaked a beholder 3 different ways to make it a little different, more interesting maybe, or just funny. And if anyone has any ideas that they wanted to share, tonight's the night to do it. We have an open forum. You can come in. Mark will put the link again in the description from here now and then, and you can just pop it, and you get in like a little line. He'll pull you up like the Brady Bunch, And
But
you just pop in and share your idea. And I know, Fred, you know Rivers. Rivers is a solid. He follows a lot of us, and he's always got good comments for everybody, and I appreciate that, because we get the trolls too, and it's nice to have people that are always positive like Rivers RPG. And I like his videos too. He opens up some cool stuff and minis and stuff. So you're welcome in.
There was a comment a little bit ago from Tanner. I liked his
I'll
idea.
let Mark can put it up for us if he
Mark?
finds it. Tanner. Huh?
I'm looking for it.
I think I know who Tanner. That may be Logan's friend in Utah.
Oh, maybe.
Here we go.
All right,
I like
what's it
this
say?
idea.
All right. Had an idea for a monster that lives underground, mines and eats the minerals found there.
Okay.
You
Are you an English
Oh,
teacher? Let me read this in the.
You read that, because it's right over Fred's face. That I really can't control.
That's how you treat our guests too.
That's.
Can you switch me and Fred? You can call. You can.
I think I can. I don't even know
Let's
how
see
to
if
do
you
that.
can mess with it. See if you can mess with it.
Oh, I can't. I guess I can. Let's see if I do this.
What is
happens?
happening?
Oh, this is there you go.
There
That's
we
good.
All
That's
right.
good.
I didn't do that.
Okay, I'll
learned
read this.
something.
I'll read this for us.
All
I had an idea for a monster that lives underground near mines and eats the minerals found there. You are what you eat. So depending on the minerals, it grows different precious gems that affects its armor class.
Ooh, I like that.
What do you guys think of that?
I
What do you think, Fred?
I think somebody's going to loot that monster big time. I think they're going to oh, really? It's made of gems, and yep, it's going to be trounced. And if they can't kill it the first time, they'll come back later on.
Really.
Yes,
Bring all my friends.
Fantastic. That's how you drop your treasure hoard without actually having a treasure hoard.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's not just a dragon's lair. It's a moving hoard of treasure. That's an interesting idea. I like that a lot. Yeah, very cool. See,
Tanner, not
what we
confusing.
envisioned.
Yeah, Tanner, not confusing. That was
No,
a good.
it's
That was a
Mark.
very
It
good
was on
idea.
Mark.
No.
Very good idea. And that's my first thought, Fred, was the same thing. Like, well, if it's made of precious gems, then that's going to be a target for every party. It mines gold all the time? Really? Where is this located at? So it may have a high AC, but it's going to go down somehow. So yeah, that's a great idea.
I could see the dwarf in the party like eyes light up, and I was like, I'm not leaving that thing.
But as what happens with everything nowadays, they want to train it.
Yeah.
They'll
as a
take
pet.
it, put it on a leash, and pet it and feed it and train it, and then they can use it to find precious metals. So there's no bad guys anymore. Everything's owlbear. Oh, I'll take it. I'll train it. It'll be my little pet.
Oh gosh.
So
yeah, that's
awesome.
good stuff. Yeah, they're a rare find. You really can't find these loot eating things that often. All right. Oh, Findar's got a vague idea of a
What?
Mojo. What is this one?
Again, put it over me. Put it over
Vague
me.
idea, right here, right
There
over
you go.
top of you. All right, read it, Gonzo.
All right.
I need a new voice.
Yeah.
I'm not a voice guy. That's Logan. But all right.
That's true.
All right, here we go. I have a vague idea for a monster. It's a Modron, but not just any Modron. It's made of many Modrons, sort of like a transformer. It can shoot out the arms like a rocket punch.
Nice. That sounds
Okay.
like those things I used to build as a kid. Those like Gundam things. Yeah.
So Modrons, I know what they are because my daughter DM'd one time. Carrie, you remember, and
Yeah.
she picked those because she thought they were cute in the monster manual.
Yeah.
And the way they're drawn in there, they look really cute. And they're like little mechanical. They're short, little mechanical, sometimes triangle-based or square-looking thing, like SpongeBob or like a round thing. And they're like animated mechanical things, but they have intelligence to them. And so he's talking about one with a rocket punch arm and stuff. That's pretty sweet. That's a great idea. See, these ideas are awesome.
I know.
It's
This is pretty
Rock'em
sweet.
Robots.
I didn't see this one.
Right.
The Gem Dragon miniature coming out. Oh, that's pretty cool.
I remember Matt Colville created a Gem Dragon in his first Kickstarter. He made some kind. Yeah, he actually created the figure and everything for it because he made enough money to push it forward. So wow.
And then Reaper stole it, maybe.
Chipping off a gem or two. Yeah, and those gems are used, if I'm right, a lot of those are used as spell components, right, Fred? Like different gems.
You need the the diamond with 100 gold pieces. So that's one. But there's a few other spells that use gems, but it's usually you have to grind it up into powder, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
This
good.
is a great one.
Oh, this is a good one.
Oh boy. And
lot.
D20, you're welcome to come in, by the way.
Yeah.
Your collection rivals ours for sure.
Yeah.
He's got
No
all
kidding.
the old school stuff that you could ask for. So, all right, you want me to read this one?
Yeah.
All right. Let me look through it first.
See if there's
How
any big words.
A different voice? I don't have voices.
No.
Okay. How about? Oh, that's Stan Lee.
Oh, that's very good.
How about an aquatic beholder where all of his spells are aquatic based? An ice stalk could cast control water, tidal wave, wall of water, salt bomb, entangle with seaweed, conjure sea monster. I love this actually.
I love this too. That was almost like Kevin from The Office. That was
Kevin from The Office.
That was a weird kind of voice there.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I love this idea. This is a cool idea.
Kevin's awesome. All
So
right.
a sea-based beholder. Now, Fred, I haven't seen that before. I'm sure it's been done, but that sounds really cool when you take a monster and you make it. I mean, they do that with every dragon, right? There's the ice dragon, there's the fire dragon, but if you take a beholder and you make it themed to where it actually lives, like something from under the water, so it says when it comes up out of the water, it's got seaweed hanging all over it, and surrounded by all these squid things and whatever, and all the spells are based upon that. Like a druid would be, like a druid of the land or something. Where
Reminds me of Sigmund and the Sea Monster from way back. That's probably dating myself a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
1960.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. I watched it every day.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really liked the conjure another creature, sea creature. I was like, why didn't somebody think of that? Like, fire out array and suddenly there's another creature other than the beholder. A little beholder would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Spitting out little beholders, or if it's got like a pooper, you shoot it out back and send out the ice storm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
you
it.
knew I was going to go there. I'm still family friendly. I
Yeah,
didn't say
family
any of the
friendly.
bad
Trust
words.
me.
Yeah.
You play with kids, it's always
I'm-
about poop.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not being naughty today. I was
Our dining
yesterday.
room table conversations always end
Yeah,
in poop, so
Yeah. It always
Throwing
evolves to
food
that.
and toilet talk is like the common thing
Yeah.
right, in my
all
family.
together.
Oh yeah.
I like the salt attack too because I was thinking, what would that do? And I was just thinking Chanda. Yes, your character's going to probably vomit. Big time.
Conjure Kraken. There you go. That's the end game.
It has multiple levels there.
Yeah.
Did you not notice the multiple ideas going on? Kraken, crack,
Right.
conjure.
Yeah.
Where is it
Crack.
coming from?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, really.
That's right. Where do you release it from? There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, that's the brown trout release program too.
That's
Oh,
the
man.
one. Okay, I'm going to stop now.
And that's where the stream went off rails. All right, good.
Yeah, that's where
Good
people.
stuff.
That's
Good
where people rant. I
And
know,
with
but
that, class
Yeah.
dismissed.
no. But okay, listen. I got a story to tell you guys because I
this
got
a
to get
rant?
this off my chest, and
It is-
this is definitely my rant. I am befuddled. What's going on? So okay,
Right.
listen. Just listen.
I'm listening.
Boy.
There's this thing of technology called a dishwasher.
Oh.
And
Yeah, I've heard of these.
in my brain, if there's something called a dishwasher, you put a dirty dish in and it comes out clean. The problem is I have never seen a dishwasher that you put a dirty dish in and it comes out clean. There's always something stuck to it, or there's something, on the back of it where the water didn't hit it or whatever. So my rant is, why even have a stupid dishwasher? Because I'm told by the professionals who work around dishwashers that, well, you got to rinse it off first. And I said, well, what if you had lasagna and there's like hard cheese on there? Well, then you got to wipe it off first.
Yeah.
And so my answer is always, well, then why don't you just finish and wipe it off and just wash it? Why is it just stack and then sit and then gets washed and it comes out? Yeah. So my rant is,
counter to
are
that-
dishwashers really, really useful? Are they really good for anything?
Yeah.
Or am I
counter
the
to
only one that has that problem?
My counter to that would be, how many dishwashers have you actually loaded?
Okay, wait a minute.
Oh,
Time
man.
out.
Oh, man.
I don't know exactly. I mean, I can't count on my hands how many times I've done it. I know that.
Oh, wow. Oh, shots
But-
fired. All right. So
But I'm
Okay.
serious.
All right, so
This is
can
our
we finish
domestic-
the live stream now that we've talked about dishwashers? Because that was what we showed up for. We showed up
Right.
to talk about
We-
dishwashers.
We did.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there somebody in the
Now that
chat who
that's
actually
settled.
has a monster to share?
I don't know. I mean, that's to me. I'm going to create a monster out of a dishwasher because
That
they
is his
frustrate me
monster.
so much.
yeah, that is his monster. All right. All right.
Frustrating.
All
So
right.
you
any more
guys,
monsters?
you guys all have good dishwashers? Like it just
Oh
you just
my
put it in and it comes
goodness.
out clean?
No, honestly, that's the same thing. I always wondered. I think we've been sold a bill of goods here. The idea
Yeah.
this monster is supposed to help
Fred,
out.
in New Zealand, do the dishwashers work better than here in the States?
If you rinse them.
Oh, see, that's the answer.
Yeah, and the
That's
water
what I'm
goes the
told.
opposite way down there. That's the craziest
I'm
thing.
not going, Gonzo, I'm not going there, man. I'm not going there. I get enough trouble with my sister about loading the dishwasher and putting the
Okay.
dishes in there because I just wash everything rather than stick it in the dishwasher.
See?
So I'm not going there. Okay, let's talk
Okay.
about monsters.
All right.
I know
all right.
when I'm dealing with a
Gonzo
subject,
rant done.
and you've got
Gonzo
to
rant
accept,
done.
mate. You're old enough. You should know there are certain things you should not try to argue about.
I
And
That's
I
true.
guess.
Yeah,
Move
you
on.
gotta
Yeah.
choose your
Okay.
battle, brother.
Wisdom
Yeah.
comes. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for steering this the right way.
Boy.
All right, this one's good. I don't remember this one.
Do you guys remember the brain mole from the original Monster Manual? A psionic mole. Too funny. I don't remember it, but I do have the original Monster Manual.
Psionic mole. That is pretty good.
Fred, do you remember that? The brain mole?
I've heard of it,
Yeah.
but then of course I've listened to and watched a lot of AJ Pickett and Dungeon Dad. So yeah, they tend to talk about these sorts of things. Yeah, it's yeah. There's lots of weird monsters, and that's certainly one of them.
Yeah, and psionic psionic seems to be a thing that's kind of happening a little more and more. It seems coming out of Wizards. So we may see some more psionic monsters coming out. All right, what about this one?
Maybe.
All right, Gonzo, reading it.
All right, I'll read it. I love the idea of a mound of flesh laid before you, taking up most of the room. The door slams shut. Little gremlin-type humanoids start billowing out of ever-increasing fold. What do you do? So there's something in there where it starts to stretch open, and these little gremlins are coming up. So gremlins. A gremlin mound.
It reminds me of the Living Wall. Do you guys remember the Living Wall from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons?
Living wall. No.
It was basically a wall, and it was just made up of faces, bits of faces.
Oh,
bones,
yeah.
Skulls. It's the sort of thing that they'll never put in Dungeons and Dragons 5e because it would enter into the R rating, I would imagine, rather than the PG. Oops, hang on, we were supposed to say PG. Stay PG in this one.
That's okay.
It's pretty,
it's all right.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
His idea, Joe's idea is pretty hardcore. I like it.
Mhm.
I definitely won't be doing it with kids because I don't think they can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Matt Mercer used a in one of his, I think it was the first campaign, the first season, there was a gateway that was made out of living like body parts that were all hooked together, and it was all this it was pretty dark. Yeah. That's pretty dark. Yeah. All right. So I think this is right up Fred's alley here.
Okay.
Talk about rants. I don't have a little flashing thing that says rant coming from Fred, but all right, Fred, in a nutshell, what's wrong with 5th edition Monster Manual?
Sure.
Okay, sure. I'll say it because I've had
It's our
too much
live
to say
stream.
about it.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the art. I don't normally like watercolor, but I've never had a problem with the art in the Monster Manual for Dungeons and Dragons 5e. So I'm fine with that. I'm actually fine with most of the lore. There are some things they changed which I thought were stupid, and I know that AJ and Josiah would agree with me, and probably you guys would too. The Willow Wisp is one that confuses me so much, but mechanically they are very, very tame. You know, they really are built to sort of for a beginner. And I know a lot of people get confused and they look at the Monster Manual and like, well, what's the deal here? All the supplements, all the monsters are much, much more powerful than what's in the Monster Manual. And what people don't understand is, because I was part of the alpha playtest, which is why my name's in the book, is the time frames were very short. You know, they had a release date. We had to work to release date. And when you put 400 plus monsters into the Monster Manual, and you have alpha playtesters after the beta playtest, which they it went on for a little while, but once
Yeah.
you get into the alpha test, the group's not really that big, so you can only play through so many in a certain time frame. So we would get huge chunks of the monster manual that was sent to us before, the D&D next one rather than the final product.
Mhm.
And we'd have 2 weeks to try and give them feedback.
Mhm.
So you can't really, unless you're running combat all day,
All
or
day.
7 days
Yeah.
a week, weeks and weeks and weeks, which you can't do. You got to live, right? You just can't give them that level of feedback. So they've probably had to rely a lot on some of the in-house play testing, and that would be even smaller as a group.
Right.
Okay, in terms of testing. And then they're relying on their spreadsheet, which is a bunch of numbers. And we all know that numbers really don't make a monster.
Mhm.
So that's why they always seem underpowered. I don't like a lot of the mechanics in the monster manual because there's some that look like they should be quite weak, and they will take out characters really, really fast. Banshee's a good example.
Mhm.
Jackal-wares are pretty scary. Those sorts
Yeah.
of footsies won't take out characters, but you will humiliate them quite nicely. Then you've got other monsters that are really high level, and you think, oh, that's going to be a tough. Trask.
Mhm.
Well, sorry, Trask doesn't hold up in Dungeons and
Mhm.
Dragons 5e at the level that you're supposed to be playing at. So, yeah,
Right.
just change them. I that's all I can say is just change them, and just hound Wizards of the Coast like everybody's been hounding Lucasfilm, and force them to make another monster
Right.
manual, and put the pets and the familiars in there to satisfy the players, so they will actually buy the book as well. Since Wizards of the Coast are so concerned about the number of people buying their books.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, I do agree with a couple things you said, and I like. You mentioned really quick. You mentioned Jackalware, and one of the things I like about, maybe not like about fifth edition, because this is true forever in D&D, but you can always change them, right? So we do as dungeon masters, we look at him, we change him. But I like the Jackalware that he has a gaze that if he looks at you, but you have to pass the wisdom saving throw, right, and then you fall asleep. But the saving throw in the book, in the monster manual, is a 10. Well, most players, by third level, they're plus something, and so they got to roll really low to not fall asleep. So the main cool power of a Jackalware is kind of taken away. Like you said, it's great against a first level group, but and so as a DM, you adjust it. You adjust their hit points, you adjust their armor class, you adjust the number of attacks, you do those things. But like you're saying, if you're going to give the monster a level, the level should equate to a power level that would benefit that monster. And if you say it's easy, it should be easy. And if you're telling a new DM that it's really hard, it should be really hard. And they that's what you're saying. They didn't get to that. They didn't make that happen. So not all the time.
I really want to know what Carrie
That's
thinks
not
about
fair.
this.
That's not fair, though. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying
Okay.
is the monsters aren't that tough in the monster manual.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to frankly, when you think about how the game is developed, it is impossible to have a challenge rating system that would work.
Yes.
It is never going to work.
No, you can't.
And Wizards of the Coast has been trying to do that since 3rd edition. They did it in 4th, they've done it in 5th, and everybody who says, like, you should be able to do this. Oh, Pathfinder did it. Pathfinder, rubbish. I played Pathfinder. I dungeon mastered Pathfinder. That never happened. You're imagining something. So I think the reality is we want our monsters to do interesting things, which is why people change them.
Yeah.
Why they do stuff. They add different abilities to the monsters, and they do other things with them.
Right.
If you're a beginner and you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, the monster manual can feel a bit scary. But if you kind of played Dungeons and Dragons before, or you're quite experienced with 5th edition, they're pussies. They don't hold up. But
so maybe conjuring krakens is good advice, right? From a crack, conjuring krakens from a crack is a way to fix every monster.
Well, maybe we can learn from 4th edition here. I mean, there's a good
okay
quote here. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
Minions. You
Yeah.
like minions, Gonzo?
I do, and I like this about 4th edition. I know that this is where it kind of was statted out and everything, where they encourage people to add minions to their bad guys, and
Right.
he says, I love coming up with creative ways to use minions in 4th edition. I especially love ones that blow up or heal the main monsters or something else annoying when they are killed. I love that, and that always reminds me of reading back in 1986, reading the Dragonlance novels, and the first fight that the party had with these Dragonborn, or they were called, they were Dragonborn, but they would kill one, and then their sword would get stuck because the dragon guy would turn into a stone. And then the next one they killed would blow up, and they'd take damage, and they'd be like, "What's going on?" So these are magically created things that I love that idea of having an effect. Even if you kill it, you end up, having to be careful or lose something or whatever. So a lose-lose situation.
Right. So this one's near and dear to my heart, giant spiders. So. So I'm okay with spiders in real life. I mistakenly told your daughter that I'm okay with spiders in general, but when they have a little bit of weight to them, if they have a little weight to them, that makes me a little nervous. I don't think they
share
should be
your weakness with her.
I know it was a big mistake. It's one of those things where you say it and you're like, oh geez, I wish I could get that back, and too late. She knows now, and so she likes to remind me of that anytime. But yes, giant spiders, that's always a favorite, especially of low level parties and video games and all. That seems to be I remember in Baldur's Gate, you pretty early on face those
first level down there.
Yeah.
Rats. It's always rats first, just so you can get your first hit point or whatever,
Spiders,
and then you go to spiders. Move your way up. So
this is a great thing. These were-ravens idea is I love that idea. Candle keeps that's a great point. D20 brought up the were-ravens. So I love that. I love wear anything, but ravens are cool anyway. There's a cool animal, and then to have a were-raven version, that's pretty sweet.
Well, with the Suicide Squad movie coming out and King Shark is in there, were-sharks are going to be a thing.
Oh, you're
if
right.
they're not already. There's a guy, Sylvester Stallone does the voice for him, and he's just a walking, talking, shark-headed guy, and so were-sharks are going to be a thing. Like we've seen that in Pirates of the Caribbean too, right? Where they had the different, like the hammerhead-looking guy, and so. I mean, wear anything is always a good, wear hamsters.
Oh, now this person, Mark is speaking my language here. He's talking about liches. Big fan of special monsters like lich, dragons, and other having percentile magic resistance. Negates. Negates. I'm reading without my glasses on. Spell entirely. Advantage is spell resistance just doesn't cut it. Yeah, I love that. Liches and dragons. That's bad news right there. Either one of those. I think because of all the different options and weapons they have, and the legendary resistances and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's good stuff. Well,
and come to speak of it, I mean, we're doing a series of videos where we're doing this very thing and changing up monsters, fun with monsters. Yeah. And as you know, Logan and I just finished recording one that we've worked on. Changing dragons, and only a few ways, but there's so many ways to do it, and making them more powerful even, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever run Princess of the Silver Palace, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Princess of the Silver Palace.
Heard of it.
It's really old.
That's old.
I bet D20 Talk has.
Yeah.
He probably has
it. He probably does.
He probably does.
Yeah.
The strangest monster that I ever came across in that adventure, it's not a homebrew, but it's one that has stood out, and that was there was a pool of water and there was bubbles coming out of it, and the players explored the area and the bubbles attacked them. That's right, they're getting attacked by bubbles. They thought it was bizarre, so they're getting bludgeoned to death by bubbles. So if you like a little ham, that'll ham it up pretty nicely, being attacked by bubbles. And if you take one of the players down, one of their player characters. Oh, we don't want to take the players down. That's illegal. But no.
See.
You almost got me. Almost got me, man. I give you so much.
Yeah, when you kill your players. Oh wait, we can't kill our players.
Yeah, characters. Characters are okay. Players no.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I have to say.
Yeah.
So bubbles. I like that.
So I was going to ask Carrie, since you're here, you've DM'd and you've played.
Yeah.
Has there been one monster for you on either end that stood out, whether you liked running it because you usually are the assistant DM and you do a lot of the. I'll run this guy. You do this. You tell the story, and or when you're playing.
Assistant to the DM.
Assistant to the DM. Assistant DM. Has there been one that stood out to you at all that you either thought was neat or interesting, or you didn't like facing, like it was a pain in the rear to take out, or that you can think of?
I like the different were creatures. I think those are cool. I think those are unique, and yeah, I think that they're fun.
What do you like about them, though?
I don't know.
The whole bite can I mean, that's what I like about vampires and werewolves, is that if you get hit...
Right, it challenges the player, and they have to do something to negate that spell or whatever. I don't know. I think it just kind of adds another quest to the adventure or something. I just think it's interesting that, I mean, this game is like every other game that you play, Monopoly, whatever. You're always brewing and making your game better or different or challenging yourself a little more. You get bored with, I don't think that we've ever played one game or pulled one thing from the manual that came straight from the manual to the table. Like there's always some kind of home brewing going on. So
you heard it here. It's just like Monopoly.
Well, in the form of manipulating a game, because if you go play Monopoly at everyone's house, it's always different. They're like, oh, we put money on free parking. When you land there, you get that money. Or we put all this stuff, which we do. Or we hand out 2 properties at the beginning and everyone starts there. Like there's always home rules, right?
Even you guys as individual dungeon masters, you play a monster different than Logan will play it, different than Mark will play it. So I just think it's even individualized to the DM.
Matt's on, and he's already bringing the good ideas right here. It's dark right there.
Yeah, that hurts.
Ow! It's like moaning all the time. It's in pain. What the heck?
Well, that'll hurt.
Yeah, that'll hurt. Yeah.
So does that count as a D6 or D8, D4, D10 salt damage to every wound they take, or every blow that's struck?
Yeah, I like that idea.
I don't know.
You imagine? He's bad enough to get a paper cut and a little bit of salt on. You imagine getting a big old gash from a sword and get a little salt.
Yeah,
it's almost like poison, though. It keeps working, right? So
right. It doesn't just
flush
come
that
out.
out or something. Yeah.
Ongoing damage. Ooh, and we want more of that.
Yeah. Right.
D20. If you want to come in and show us, I know he's got it. He said it's module B3. Yeah, he's got. I know he's got it. But if you want to come in and show us, the link is.
Put his hand on it right now, probably.
Yeah, it's right behind him.
Yeah,
he's got it. But
is unbelievable.
Yeah, great stuff.
Legends.
Has anybody ever attacked their party with a gazebo?
A gazebo, like a mimic?
Well, I mean, you know what a gazebo is, right?
Yeah, it's a little thing, like people get married in them, or you have a little picnic in there.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the story of Eric and the gazebo? It's pretty famous on the internet. I
didn't know.
Sounds like a New Zealand thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a New Zealand thing.
Nice try, Mark.
Nice try.
Everything I don't understand, it's a New Zealand thing. Yeah.
The story goes basically that the dungeon master describes that there is a gazebo in front of them, and the player, Eric, did not know what a gazebo was. So he says, I attack it. And the dungeon master repeats on multiple occasions as he says, I attack it. It's a gazebo. He doesn't understand why he would attack a gazebo because it's not a monster. So eventually, the gazebo does attack him. So I decided to make a monster that was a gazebo. It was a mixture of a mimic and a beholder. I gave it all the abilities to my gazebo. Called it Gary, because that's the name you would normally pick.
Gary, yeah.
Gary the gazebo.
Gary the gazebo.
I like the alliteration. Yeah.
Thank you. But yes, if you really want to mess with your players, put a gazebo in there and actually have it attack them. That works quite well.
And then to give it beholders. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
You're
and a mimic. This thing can fly.
Wow.
The whole thing hovers. Oh god. Oh my
I take
goodness.
it back. That's my new favorite monster.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, you got to create it and use it. That'll be awesome. I think we should do a video on the NATO monsters.
Oh wow.
The NATO monsters.
Oh,
I just think
NATO?
that'd be so much fun to do. Yeah.
NATO monsters. Let's do it.
And stat them up, like put them on a PDF for our Patreons, and stat them up and make a few NATO monsters. You can make as many as you can think of, but I like the story behind it. Okay, a wizard was working on really fine tuning a weather control spell for his town, and instead he's created these vortexes that are just gone out of control, and they happen to go out into the woods and pick up a tribe of goblins who are just bumbling around, and he delivered them to the next city or wherever the vortex went. And so this Goblinado lands somewhere with a bunch of dizzy but angry goblins, and they just go and just cause destruction. And now he has to,
Speaking of angry goblins, I see Seth's in the chat here.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love to
see.
see professional writers and famous people like that.
Always
That's
good
one
to
of his
have
favorite movies is Sharknado.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably why you said it and it summoned him. That's probably what happened. You said Sharknado and
that's a Seth NATO.
That's Seth NATO. Oh,
Seth, the link's in the description if you want to get in here.
Yeah.
And share us your favorite monster
Here,
in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to know where monsters come from, and that we were going to save that for a late night D&D live stream. But
man, we got to do a series of videos on that, and that'll get lots of views.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
All right, so Sunless Citadel.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
And
I've had to use goblins, skeletons, and twig blights against my players. So far, the whole party is still going strong.
Good.
So,
that's a brilliant party.
Byron, do you feel that they're being challenged though? Like, do you have it to where at least during the battle, maybe one of them, gets knocked out and has to be revived, or are they breezing through it? That'd be my question to you. Because if they're breezing through it, you got to give some of those goblins wings, or you got to give those skeletons like clad in plate mail armor or something. Well, they'll just take the armor when they're done, but you can adjust things to challenge your players. And players like it, Fred. I mean, they like it when they're challenged. I don't think it is nice to feel heroic and go through a swarm of something, but they also like the feeling of getting to use all of their abilities, their spells, their magic weapons, whatever, because that's why they're building the character the way they are, right?
Yeah. So I find that you usually new players are not too worried about that sort of thing, generally, depending on their experience with RPGs. But if they're completely new, they don't really care too much. They like fighting. That's good.
Okay.
I'll answer your question, but let's D20 talk.
Okay.
I talk enough, as you know.
Yeah. Look at that beauty right there. Mark, you can make his big if you want.
Is that the original that got taken off the shelf?
Let's see if I can. Let's see.
It is the original?
Look at that beauty. Mark, you can make.
There we go.
There you go.
So that's.
Yes, I remember purchasing this many years ago.
Dang.
So that means it has the monster with the 3 heads. That got a lot of attention from TSR's executives, who decided that the lady who had put this thing together, the first lady who ever write a Dungeons and Dragons adventure, Gary said, "Leave her stuff alone. Do not change anything." So it got printed, and she decided to have these 3-headed monsters, and each head represented the executives of TSR, and some of them have obviously got some very, very strange and poor social habits, and the caricature. It was a caricature on each head, and so they got really, really annoyed, and they pulled it, and they changed the whole thing, and then they re-released it.
Oh my gosh!
Unfortunately, but the original is much better than the re-released one.
Nice.
Very cool. Thanks, D20. Of course, we could count on you to show us the. I knew you could put your hands right on it.
Yeah. Hey, have you D20? Have you been playing lately?
No, not lately.
No. Okay. I wondered with with everything that's been going on, it's been hard for a lot of people, but hopefully we're on our way out, or at least on the
I
down
think
slope.
towards
Of
the fall, it's going to get back to usual. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, we all got to be rolling dice a little more. So yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks for sharing. You're so nice to share your collection with us.
Right here.
Not quite the same as having it in our hands, but it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy. Take care. Awesome. All right. So Seth Adam Smith, look at this. I guess he just loves Dungeon Class. He just can't get enough of this guy.
Super chat.
Yeah.
I love Dungeon Class for life. Look at this guy.
I don't know.
Well, he's a good man. I know he has his hands full, but is he coming in?
We're supposed to ask Fred about some huge bugs. Wettabug? What's a wettabug?
Yeah. Okay, so wetabugs.
Weta?
This is something supposedly.
Are they more than wet? They're weta?
Someone said, what was it? Oh,
Cujo did, didn't he?
Overboard said it. Yeah, Cujo. A swarm of. All right, what are wetabugs? He said you would know.
What are wetabugs?
Yeah, okay. So these live in the bush in New Zealand, and they come in various sizes, but they can grow quite large if they're left alone. And they feed on wood. That's basically how they operate. That's what they just feed on dead wood and so forth. And they live in trees. But their whole body is just covered in spikes, particularly the legs. And
there we go.
Yes, there. Oh, finally. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I was all over the place. And so these things can hurt when you have to deal with them. You do not want them caught in your hair because there's just no way you can get them out. I had a grandmother and she had 3 cats, and they would go into the trees, collect these things, take them back, stick them underneath her pillow, and I would hear her screaming at night as suddenly she'd discover the present that was left behind, and the weta had climbed into her hair, which was tight curls, so you just couldn't get it out. So yeah, there are sorts of things that when you look at it, you just about want to run away. But they're not really poisonous. They can hurt. But yeah, that's a weta.
All right.
Wow.
So the next thing we need to put together.
Teeth on them, they would be a dangerous monster.
Yeah. Huge insect.
You need stats.
Gosh.
Yeah, make it a bit bigger, and it'll be really scary. These things I've seen them grow to about that size. I'm sure they can grow bigger. But,
oh my god.
Are you pulling it up?
That's like our palmetto bug in Florida.
Oh, I know. I don't have a. I'm not pulling it up.
Okay, well.
What my chat was saying.
There you go.
Cool.
Oh, I sent that to Seth. Hold on. Let me send it to you.
There was a comment about a swarm of dolls, too.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
That's
that
scary.
Is terrifying.
How about a doll NATO?
This sounds like something that, that Haley like.
Evil doll
a doll NATO? An animated doll NATO.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Now, I've used that.
Of course you have.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've used it in the original Ravenloft.
Okay. With Miss Blinsky? With Blinsky?
Yeah, the Blinsky dolls. Exactly.
Okay.
So I had been watching too much Chucky and various other things. And I thought, well, what would be the worst thing that could possibly happen? Well, let's make them fly. And one is just not enough. So let's have a herd. And so I had them swarming the players. In the end, they tried to fight it off with one of those silver trays that you bring food out on. And they had to run away because it's how do you deal with so many dolls attacking you all at once with sharp?
They didn't have fireball or anything yet.
Well, I mean, you get fireball yourself. That's not such a good idea, So hence, not really.
Or they'd just be flaming dolls. They'd just be flaming dolls coming at you. So still not good.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, that's a great idea, Mark. Go with it.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's like nightmare fuel, dude. I'm looking at this picture of him. Let's see if I can share it here.
Overboard. That's what I thought too. Put teeth on him.
On the weta bugs?
No, on the dolls.
Oh, put teeth on the dolls. That's even worse, dude.
Yeah,
that's
and sharp,
stuff.
Sharp fingernails because
right.
That's nothing scary. Stilettos as well can really help. Have There's got to
There
be
you go,
little dolls.
Gonzo. You start. If we go to New Zealand, we're
They're
gonna
all
wear
going to be
stilettos.
male. Some of them can be female. Somewhere in between. You know, cover all the spectrums.
So when we go to New Zealand, we have to wear stilettos. I guess that's what I'm hearing.
No, you bring chandles. What are you thinking?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh my.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
grasshopper kind of.
Grasshopper roach mix. Cockroach
Oh.
grasshopper mix.
thing is. Oh, that's just nightmare fuel right there.
No.
Yeah, the back end is not very much fun sometimes,
Mhm.
but neither are the legs. They're not, and the front end. It's usually just the look of it that usually puts people off.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Barovia.
Crazy stuff. Yeah. All right. Oh, Rivers just got.
By the way, Van Halen,
Oh.
not a sponsor yet.
Yeah.
But you're trying.
Oh, we're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it.
Uh-huh.
So I'll give them a call. Once they see this video, they'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, we got to get involved with Dungeon Class and How to D&D," because I mean, look at the engagement. So they're going to be excited.
All right, is Keely watching? Because I feel like this is right up her alley too. This horrifying doll idea just gets better. Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Bleeding, actually have working mouths and have raised their teeth. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but everyone's scared of dolls and clowns. A clown NATO, I'm running from that.
Okay. How about
All
the
right.
roach?
Someone's asking me a question here about my favorite. All right, so
Byron Lee,
favorite
Mark
D&D
the man.
monster? That's a great question. Favorite monster. I'm partial to liches, and well, I guess it'd be a cross between a lich and either that or a Death Knight. I just love Death Knights, which is why I sent them. I turned them loose on my
On our party.
on your campaign. Yeah, Death Knight. Just they can summon up armies, and it's just good times. Yeah, so good stuff. I love it. So that would be my favorite, I think. But I'm always partial to mimics as well. I mean, mimics are just great, classic D&D. I really like using classic stuff. I think Gonzo does too a little bit. Throw in like a black pudding or something that the newer players don't. It's like a rite of passage. You need to have these experiences with some of these classic monsters.
Gelatinous cube. Every player has to go through the kind of the basics of the gelatinous cube and the mimic. And mimic is hard not to be a DM's favorite because it could literally be anything, and you can drop it at any time. And once you've used it once, maybe twice, your players will always be leery. Like they're always going to be afraid to open anything. I ran into that in our long running family campaign for over a year. Once I used it like twice, that was it. They would open everything with a pole or
Right.
or a barbarian. You do it. You got a lot of hit points. You go open it. Or everything. Scared to open a door. Every step is meticulously thought about, and that's why I like it because you use a mimic a couple times, and as a dungeon master, you've raised the tension already for the rest of your time that you're with them because they're always going to be thinking, "Man, is he going to drop one?" And then I remember changing it up and used a rug of smothering. I had a room full, and they were looking for mimics, and I had a room of rugs. Some were very, very expensive, and some tapestry paintings and stuff.
I don't think Allie's forgiving you. Since
I know. And then a rug of smothering. Now that kind of monster we haven't talked about that yet, but any kind of monster that either turns a player against the party, which Fred, that's like almost the most deadliest thing you can do is when a player they have to basically knock out or beat someone that's charmed or controlled, or like a rug of smothering engulfs somebody, and so if you hit it, your player's also taking damage. So good job, you hit it for 12 hit points, but your player took 6 hit points damage too, and so the character is smothering and trying to break out and can't breathe, and at the same time it's getting pounded by his teammates or her teammates. So those are those kind of monsters that have those kind of effects on parties can really do a lot more damage than their challenge rating. It's just a rug.
Mimics are a problem though, because every mimic fight that I've ever seen is usually just the first person who's unfortunate enough to have touched it that winds up stuck, and then everybody laughs at them while all their weapons are stuck to it while they're trying to attack it, and then everybody just moves back and shoots the thing, and then the mimic's dead. I think really what you need to do with a mimic is instead of it being able to walk, make it teleport. The ability
Misty
to
step.
teleport. Yeah. Because then it can just disappear and you can use it again later on.
Yeah.
That paranoia will set in if suddenly, where did it go? We don't know. Did it turn invisible? So, I make it teleport far enough that you can actually make it disguise itself as something else, and then the players are like going to be panicking the whole time as those.
No, that's great, Fred. That's great. Like it turns into a piece of paper and creeps with little tiny legs underneath the door to the next room, and then you open the next room and there's a bunch of suits of armor and all kinds of stuff, and the players aren't even going to step in. They're going to like, well, we're leaving.
Probably not right.
Yeah. What is
the problem with moving is Sentinel, and almost every party that I know has somebody with Sentinel. They shut down movement with a mimic trying to move away. So that's why I'm suggesting teleport. Flying still problematic because they can't move away if you've got Sentinel.
Right.
And with your oozes, you want your oozes to be able to hurt magic items. Because Dungeons and Dragons 5e is a bit too tame when it comes to magic items, because things that oozes used to really be scary, but now they're like, well, they move so slow, somebody might get hurt, but I don't have to really, maybe my mundane gear will get damaged, but I don't have to worry about my magic items because we're not going to touch them. Make them hurt the magic items as well.
So we're working with our fun with monsters. One of the ideas I've written down for a rust monster is that it's basically attracted to magic items, not rust, not metal. So when you fall in that pit or whatever, it goes for whoever has a magic sword or a magic armor or a magic helmet, and that's what it destroys. Which, man, that would tick off a player, but it's just
there's always a chance to find another one.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's a good way to remedy that problem that you gave him too many magic items. Like, well, take them out.
There you go. Which we all do. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, River's idea here. I like this. Scary as heck, though. The dark, it's immune to magic and only be hurt by steel, but very hard to see, and they only come out at night. I haven't heard of that one.
I think that's based on the law around witches, if I remember right. The idea that steel was required to actually hurt witches. So I think that's pulled from.
That's how it is in The Witcher. Yeah. Very good. Oh, I like this. This is a great idea too. At first, I was kind of ice cube, but cold damage, gelatinous cube. Definitely good for Icewind Dale. That's a great idea. I like this.
Yeah. That's good stuff. And I think what we're seeing overall with all these great ideas and stuff is that, as much as we may wish the monster manual was more and had more choices and maybe had beefed some up and not on others, with just the conversation we've had in the last hour, you can see how how easily you can be creative to change something just a little bit and really change the whole encounter, the way that the party's going to react. Listen to the conversation where we just turned mimics into teleporting beings and dolls into bloody dolls they're in swarm form. And this is just coming from, a dozen people here, and so that's kind of the key. If you're watching this video and you're a first-time dungeon master or 100th time dungeon master, have fun. Like before you sit down to play, don't just pull a monster out of the monster manual and say, okay, I've got my monster. Figure out a way, and especially if you can move it within the story, but figure out a way to change it up a little bit to take yourself off guard and your players off guard, and I think you're going to freshen up the game for yourself. It's going to keep people motivated to keep, we didn't know how to do that. We didn't know those could do that. Well, they can here, they can in this dungeon, they can in this wizard's tower. So
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
really
know.
only limited to your own imagination. I mean, just using the monster manual as a
It's a good
moldable
guideline.
creature base, right? As your
Mhm.
base, right? And then
Yeah.
just to add to that.
Yeah, it's like everything is in its skeletal form when you read it first in the monster manual, and then you can flesh it out. And I mean, our family, we're surrounded. Everyone that DMs, nothing's normal. Not everything's been changed or homebrewed, like Carrie said,
Right.
and that just shows that everyone's pretty creative. And when we watch movies together, we like creative movies. We don't like the same old thing over and over. You know, when we read books, all of us are reading things that are kind of ignite our creativity. So. And I know, I mean, look at the chat. It's so many cool ideas out there that even if you think it's been done before, you can tweak it pretty easily. So I can't imagine, like Fred's been playing a long time, and I can't imagine having that much experience. And I would think for yourself, you would want, just for fun, you would change things up because you're like, I don't want to run another, room with goblins. These goblins are going to be goblin stack like they gave us in the Tomb of Annihilation, and they're one on top's going to have wings or whatever. I think whatever.
Yeah, I've changed a lot because my players are really experienced. They've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for years, some of them longer than I have, and most of them are much smarter than I am too, which is unfortunate for me. So as a result, I have to be devious and cheat and connive quite a bit. So a kraken's not an undead kraken; it's an undead kraken rather than a kraken. So you give it undead fortitude, and that really messes with them because, of course, that how do you kill that thing because it's got a high constitution. Bunny rabbits, you make them a bit larger and give them 100 babies, and then suddenly they've got a big problem. So everything is changed. And one of the best things I've found is if you look at art in comic books, on the internet, just fantasy art, you'll find some really strange things. Even Dungeons and Dragons memes. I know some of them are really, really funny. And the one I remember that one of the most is the Beholder that's blind, that's undead, and it's got a saddle on it. And sitting on top of that is a mind flayer who's who's got like a pole arm, and the undead Beholder is also a monk, and it's got nunchucks swinging around. I mean that's some of the crazy stuff. But there's also the chicken. Do you guys ever come across the giant three-headed chicken that breathes fire?
No.
That's a pretty funny one too. So you take them all, and any crazy stuff you see that you can pull from a different game or a different RPG or a bit of artwork. I make it a monster, and just figure out how to tool it up.
Yeah, for sure. You have another? What's going on?
Well, I just have one last comment. I think this is
okay.
A good one to end on. So
let's do one last one here.
It's Seth's contribution here. People were saying it's great to create uncertainty and paranoid in a game.
It's basically
2020 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, that could be its own monster. 2020.
Well, I think there might be a sequel to that. We might have 2021. It's not over yet.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not talk like that. Yeah. All right, Fred. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Fred. Thanks for joining us as always. Great to have you anytime. And thank you, chat. Oh my gosh, you guys have great ideas. I've actually taken some notes.
Well, we are making a series of fun with monsters, and some of the ideas here we're going to flat out steal from you.
Yeah.
So you can unless you hurry up and copyright it, we're going to take it. But I tell you what, though, if we do steal from you, we'll put credit in that video.
Yeah.
Why not? That'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
So because these are good ideas and they should be shared. They should be shared. So.
Now, before you send me out, Carrie.
Yes, sir.
You may be aware that I've already been hanging out with these two, trying to do a Dungeon Master roundtable. Yeah.
Is that next Friday night too?
No, I'm not suggesting, because that would be quite intimidating, because it's AJ Pickett. I'll be there, and we're probably going to wind up. They've asked me. AJ hasn't asked a lot. He's asked for Mr. X, Jordan, D&D Beyond, Nerdarchy Dave, which he
Yeah.
already knows is going to be pretty hard.
Yeah.
Bob will build this much easier for me to pull off.
Yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it.
And Dawn from Roll for Initiative. So I've got a lot of emails to send out, but I'm not suggesting that. But I'm just saying, I want you to think about that, because maybe that's if I maybe I can find some people you don't find quite so intimidating, and you come on, and you could represent.
You haven't met my wife, actually. She is not intimidated by anything in life. I married one of the most confident and strong willpowered women I could find, and she has led this family to greatness. She really has, and I'm not saying that just because it's Mother's Day Sunday.
I was gonna say, was that my Mother's Day?
No,
that was smart. That was really
Mark
good.
knows, but she's just not. She just doesn't get intimidated. She grew up with 3 brothers. She's fairly tomboyish, and now, if she were to do that, which that's up to her, she could be representing a newer dungeon master, because this is all new to her. She's helped us out and kind of melded into the game slowly. She definitely enjoys helping to run the DM side than to play, I think. Yeah. Right? Because so do I, because I think as dungeon masters, once you've done it for a while, as a player, you're waiting for a turn, and you're not used to that.
She just likes to know all the answers, honestly.
Ahead of the test, well, that too. But I think she could bring that perspective to something, as someone that's learning this side of it and whatever. So, whatever. But that's a great idea.
I appreciate that offer, Fred.
Yeah.
We'll see, huh?
Hey man, if you would prefer a different repertoire, maybe I can pull a less male panel together.
Oh, I'm fine.
No, she's
hold her own no matter what. But I think
Can I just shout out that COVID monster bat? I think that's a cool idea too.
Oh my gosh!
We're back here, right here.
Look, the chat's still creating monsters as we're winding down here.
COVID monster bats. That is that may be too soon. It might be too.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you throw this at them maybe 5-10 years down the road, maybe it's cool. But I think if you do it right now, you may have a revolt depending on the table.
Yeah. Well, they'd have to sign that RPG checklist. Are you afraid of COVID?
So speaking of which, we dropped the video. Remember this, Gonzo? We dropped a video on diseases.
Oh, yeah.
And it was literally immediately, right when COVID was starting to become right at the beginning of it. And people were like, "How dare you? You insensitive!" Like, "Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that."
Yeah, we had recorded it because we recorded a couple, 2 or 3, and it was just in order, and it came out right when COVID was coming over to New York City, and we're like, "Oh no, will we have to shut down?" And then Trump was deciding that stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was bad.
I remember that.
Yeah,
it's great stuff.
Yeah, you gotta read the room, and we didn't really read the room that way. I mean, just the way it worked out, but yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop a dishwasher NATO on Gonzo's.
No,
that would be scary to me.
Gonzo.
A non-functioning mechanical device.
I think we circled back to the very beginning, which is we're talking about the rants and the monsters, and thanks for having us back. Having us back. What? I'm so used to being on your stuff, Fred. Thanks for joining us. Thanks everybody in chat. Thanks for being along for this ride, and thanks to our key grip for being on. Man, this was it was an unexpected treat. I didn't see this coming. So
neither did we.
Yeah.
Neither did she.
Yeah, so. I bet not. Yeah. And there may be.
She's like, "Where are you taking me tonight? It's Friday night." I said, "Oh man, I've got the perfect place." So,
so romantic.
Yeah.
Date night, check. Yeah, nice, love it. Very good. You cut that right off. Yeah, you're so romantic, Gonzo, man.
I know.
Nothing better than talking D&D with your honey.
Nothing.
And incidentally, these two celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. I just want to throw that out there.
That's right.
They said it wouldn't last. I was at their wedding, and I'm just kidding.
They did.
I was at their wedding, it was. I've known these guys for a while, so yes, I would ditto everything that Gonzo said about Carrie, and Gonzo's a pretty good guy too. I grew up with this guy, so he's all right. Yeah, we'll keep him around, but
yeah.
All right, and well, thanks for everybody being on here, and hopefully we'll see you for the next live stream. And with that. Class dismissed.